Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the oral presentation session on the Tropentag 2020. Our session is called Practice-Oriented Further Education and Support for the Transfer of Business Ideas in the Food Value Chains in Africa. My name is Bernd Müller, and I'm lecturer at the University of Applied Science in Weinstefan-Triesdorf. And I'm happy to have you here as guests or as co-referents and referents in the section. I start now a short introductory presentation where I show you the framework in which we are working in the next 1.5 hours, and afterwards six presentations will be held from different scholars, students, which are participating at the moment and course in the food value chain analysis in Triesdorf Weinstefan. So now it's hopefully possible that you can see my picture, but I cannot go forward with my presentation. Okay, the outline of my presentation is that I will introduce you first to the postgraduate course, what I have already mentioned in food chains in agriculture. Afterwards, we will go through fast through the concept of value chains, and we will introduce you to the study projects which will be established in the postgraduate course. We will introduce you to the structure, and I will end with some exemplary topics and then hand on to the colleagues. Since 3 years, we are host here in Weinstefan-Triesdorf for a special course. It's called Postgraduate Training Course, Food Chains in Agriculture, and this course is 5 months long, and we try to cover all main topics in the food value chain, from production, from the agronomic topics through processing, and then also the topics related to marketing and the entrance to the market for the produced end products. And the basis beside these really deep subject-specific topics are the subjects like project planning methods and the structure and function of business plan and business startups, development of business startups. So this is special, that beside the deep subject-specific subjects, we have this also included. And the aim of the postgraduate course is the application-oriented qualification of young, in this case, African professionals, and to improve the development conditions in the agricultural and food sector in the respective countries. And with this postgraduate course, we want to contribute to the development of the green innovation centers of the GIZ and the German Development Agency. And this work is part of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, and as a part of the special initiative One World, No Hunger. And as a side aim, we want to create a bigger, new network with African universities and with the postgraduate alumni and the University of Applied Science in Weinstefan-Triesdorf. The value chain concept is, I think, a concept you might all know, and we have a frame. It's a frame for understanding the structural, social, and ecological implications of economic growth. And the value chain concept is based on the whole production process of a product established in the agricultural sector from the real establishment to the entrance of the market of this product. And the concept combines the analysis, the business analysis of a certain business idea, and is combined with the strategy development of the company or the shop which is interested to bring a product to the market. And within the value chain concept, we are formulating competitive strategies, and of course how value chain activities are carried out determines costs and affects the profits, and therefore it's kind of the core work in a business circle to analyze in depth what are we doing, and therefore we have to focus really carefully about our economic numbers, and this will be trained in the course. And in the course, the core is the idea, the development of an idea of a study project, and the participants in our course preparing an individual project, and this is linked to a value chain or food chain and has to have a close relation to the home country and to a problem, challenge, or opportunity in the home country, and even into the GIZ Green Innovation Centers in the countries. And in the end, we after observing the course, we are trying to elaborate this developed business idea, the study projects, on a side project within the postgraduate course. But about this we're talking later after the presentations of the colleagues. And what is done within this course? We try to give competences on theoretical training, and as most of the scholars already had in the university education, we give the possibility to do a practice-oriented handling and the first step of implementation of their ideas, and we give them we try to give a professional experience within the training. And the mastered skills are identification of the prerequisites and opportunities of the business idea, exemplary structuring of a value chain, and in the end a reality check of the developed idea within the study project. And the structure is of the study project, a short description of the value chain is done about region, product, regional needs, the farm structure in the region, the market situation, and the necessary partners in the value chain are to be analyzed, and a SWOT analysis is done about the project idea, about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And in the end, there is a not in the end, but after this first ideas, first part of analyzing what should be done in the study project, there is further elaboration necessary about the physical prerequisites for implementation, the legal and institutional requirements, the already maybe discovered necessary partners, they should be contacted, and yeah, a further connection should be established. Is the investment requirements are necessary to be find out, and financing and subsidies possibilities are also to be discovered. The outcomes, the outcomes and impacts are to be declared, and then the further suggested milestones during the implementation process of the business idea is to be assessed. And the economic viability as a more, very important point must be calculated. Profitability, like marginal prices, which are necessary for the market implementation of the project, are to be checked, and a general risk analysis and the identification of success factors should be done. And also the monitoring and evaluation plan is to be developed. And the next step, concrete implementation steps of the business idea and creation of a project schedule is to be done. And like, what are the exemplary topics of the study projects? And these are improvement of processing, reduction of post-harvest losses, for example, market creation, marketing of farm products, establishment of cooperation units, training and consulting. And also the idea of forming a startup and developing different business models and in new value chains. This was a cross overview, and this is a first overview of exemplary topics of study projects from 2018 to 2020, which have been absolvated or presented in Triesdorf in the last 2 years. And I don't want to go too in depth into this slide, but I want to share the possibility for you to see what study projects are developed in 2020 in Triesdorf. 25 participants have absolvated the postgraduate course partially right now, because due to COVID-19 we also had some problems with the travel restrictions, and therefore it was not a course like the courses before in 18 and 19, where everybody was physically in Germany, everybody of the participants. This was an online course, and we did it via online sessions, the trainings. And yeah, the course is not finished right now, but we want to present now some of our already established study project ideas. And therefore we have not the possibility for all 25 participants to present today their ideas, but we formed some groups, and we have 6 groups which are presenting now their first concluded results of the study projects. And we start with Frederick. And Frederick Leroy Barlow, and he will present. He will present is the presenter of the first group, and they will give a focus on improving cereals and legumes productivity in Africa. But before I hand over the word to Frederick, sorry, Frederick, is there any question so far to the structure of the study program or the concept of value chains from your side?
I don't have a question.
Oh, is there a question?
No.
No, okay. So thank you. And Frederick, I give the floor now to you. Thank you.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm
Thank
telling
you.
you to wait.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, all participants. Our topic is improving cereals and legume productivity. It is general information with more focus on some figures for Africa. And we can now go. In the presentation, we will have an introduction. We will give some constraint to productivity in Africa, strategy to boost cereal and legume productivity, and give some successful agricultural innovation in Africa. And at the end, we will give one conclusion. Okay. In introduction, we can say that crop production in Africa, as in other parts in the world, is giving a good contribution to food security, but our yields are inferior compared to other parts of the world. And for example, the yield gaps of maize is about 76% in Ethiopia, but we can see in China and USA it is lower than what we see in Africa. But beside this situation, our population is growing and we will reach about 2.5 billion in 2050. And this situation have many causes. Many people are focusing on the strategy side on crop varieties improvement, but it alone can't face this situation. We need also management practices and some extension and marketing policy. And with talking about constraints to this productivity, we can talk about biotic stresses like weeds, and the one of the most common weeds, parasitic weeds, is Striga emotica, which causes some losses. For pest, insect, and rodents, we can say that 30 to 60% of losses is due to that pest in Africa. We also have diseases, fungal and bacterial. With our high temperature and high humidity, we have a favorable condition for this disease to develop. We also have abiotic stresses like soil fertility, drought, and with drought, we have yield losses due to drought, which is about 40% in TEF, 51 in pear, and also in other crops. We, as constraint, we also have poor drainage, which concern 43 million of hectare in 28 African countries with problematic soils. We also have high air temperature, soil acidity, which concern 40% of total arable area. We also have soil salinity, about 5% of lands in Africa. Other constraints, not the least, but inefficient use of agricultural resources. We don't have a lot of resources, but what we have is not efficiently used, and it is a problem. We also have improved seed. We have a lot of improved seed, but their dissemination and adoption is a problem. We also have fertilizer use. We are using less fertilizer in Africa compared to other parts of countries, other countries in the world. Irrigation, we don't have irrigation facilities. Less than 1% of agricultural land are irrigated. We also have investment. Many countries say they will use 10% of their budget in agriculture, but it is not the case. Although we have an increase of productivity, it is not the case. So we can think if we can reach that 10%, what we can have in terms of productivity. Talking about strategy to boost cereal and legumes productivity through intensification. About sustainable intensification strategy, we have three strategies, three approaches. We have genetic one with high inputs, fertilizer, seeds, and so on. We also have ecological improvement, which use low input, what we call agroecological intensification. We also have socioeconomic intensification in order to create markets and develop human capacity. About green revolution, in other parts of the world, dissemination of modern cultivar improve the productivity, but in Africa, we're still using old varieties. Uh, Also, many projects are not including stakeholders from planning to reporting, and it is a big problem. Uh, More technical strategy, we have genetic improvement. We can see in one study in Kenya, the improvement of 140% with using improvement management and cultivar and fertilizer. We can also learn from other parts of the world to see how they do to have a good productivity and have a low yield gap. We also have cropping system, more technical, crop rotation, intercropping to have more income also. We have soil management to do less disturbance to the soil in order to keep the biological and physical aspect of the soil. Talking about soil fertility, we have organic fertilizer, but also inorganic, which can improve the use of organic one. So we also have biochar, which is more ecological, but the availability and affordability of this biochar is causing a bit problem. Water management can also help improve this productivity. Continue to talk about strategies. You have also crop management, the sowing time, weed management, pest and disease management. And the most important is enabling environment. If our country could send or could use 10% of their budget to agriculture and rural development, we can improve that productivity. We can talk also about land policy and inputs. People don't have access to input because they don't have some money, and we can make it available through credit, insurance, which is not more common, but we start having insurance facilities for farmers. We also have extension system, very important. Professor Schroeder talked about it last day, about extension system. A vibrant extension system is the key. We also have farmers' participation in capacity building. I will talk also about some successful agricultural innovation in Africa. For example, the pull-push technology of mutual benefit developed by ICP in Kenya, where they use one plant for intercropping and another one around the land in order to control pests. We also talk about regreening the soil in order to reduce the impact of agriculture and improve the soil structure, texture, and so on. In Togo, for example, we are using the system of rice intensification in order to improve farming. I published some photos in WOVA about that system. We use it a lot, and some farmers could go from one ton per hectare to 5 to 6 tons per hectare, so that system could help improve productivity. In conclusion, the way forward, I saw 6 points of recommendation that 15 international experts gave in one workshop at Montpellier, and that recommendation concerned adoption of policies that combine intensification and sustainable solution, but also increase financial support for research and innovation, because we can see that the financial gap from production to commercialization is very high, and in some areas they don't have any financing to grow some crops. We also have technologies, provide the good technology to farmers, also increase investment in market system and linkages through value chain, the most important for me personally. Also access to inputs and credits, and also building and sharing the expertise of smallholders, what we call tacit knowledge, in order to improve what they are doing and to give them new technology. So I will end on this diapo, and I thank you for your attention. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Frederick.
Yes.
For your and the group of and the group behind Frederick for this dense analysis of the agricultural cereal situation in northern Africa. And now I want to ask the participants, are there any questions directly to Frederick in the group? I check the WOFA page. No questions.
Okay.
At the moment, and maybe at the end, Yeah, maybe at the end, as I gave the introductory words about the postgraduate course and the in-depth analysis of the systems. Frederick, my question to you is how helped you now this analysis for you, for your example, for your special individual study project, to make the first steps and to find out which of the, yeah, maybe find out conclusions, or which of the hindering points you find out are the most relevant for you?
Yes, I say that the most important for me is linkages, improve linkages in the value chain, uh, in all that recommendation. And you can see that for my study project, I'm trying to improve the soybean cake trade through avian production. So to give more linkages, facilitate collaboration between, for example, soybean cake producers and also avian producers, farmers, in order, because they don't have the information. We are producing less. For example, the soybean processing, the soybean cake produced in Togo is not very high, but the demand, and they don't have, we don't have contact between the offer and the demand. And my study project also aims to address that situation. So in all that recommendation, the most important for me is linkages in the market. And maybe we can also talk about inputs through credit. That is what we are doing a lot in Togo with a new mechanism created by our government called NIFA, in order to give small financing to our farmers.
Okay.
Do I respond to your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I hand over the.
Another question?
Is there another question? It's no question at WOFA at the moment, and in the group also not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Frederick. And now we go on with Cleopatra. The presentation of Cleopatra, and she is the representative of also a group of postgraduate students, and she will have a look on the milk sector. Cleopatra, are you?
Good afternoon.
Are you online? Okay. Hi.
Yes, I am Cleopatra Kawanga from Zambia, and I'm presenting on the contribution of dairy to food and nutrition security on behalf of my colleagues Albright Hamongalo from Zambia and Lamont Titi from Malawi. And the outline of the presentation. I'll talk about nutrition as the global bedfive, the food and nutrition security, what does it mean? And then I'll discuss about dairy products and the contribution of dairy to food and nutrition security and the current dairy consumption levels. So malnutrition as a global burden, we already know that malnutrition is unacceptably high worldwide. And when we talk about malnutrition, we are referring to overnutrition, undernutrition, and micronutrient deficiencies. And the indicators of undernutrition, which is a major problem, especially in developing countries, is we look at the weight and the height of children or mothers. And then in this way, we look at, are they underweight or are they stunted or children under the age of 5 are slight, just a little bit. Yes, and more than 1/3 of all child deaths in the world are attributable to undernutrition, and many low and medium countries have not achieved significant reductions in underweight, stunting, vitamin, and mineral malnutrition. Okay. So what are the global nutrition targets for the year 2025? The first one is reduction, 40% reduction in stunting in children who are under 5, and then 50% reduction of anemia in women of reproductive age, that is women who are 15 to 49 years, and then 30% reduction in low birth weight. As of the year 2014, the prevalence of anemia in women who are of reproductive age was 32.8%. So most of this is attributed or it's due to low nutritious foods in their diets. Okay, we can proceed to the next slide. Okay, so when we talk about food and nutrition security, what does it mean? The global accepted definitions of food security is that food security is a situation in which all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. And food security has 4 dimensions or 4 pillars, which are food availability, food access, food utilization, and food stability. Okay, so what do we mean by food availability? It means that people should have physical availability of food, and then they should have economic and physical access to food, and then this food should be utilizable by the body. And these 3 dimensions should be stable over a period of time. The nutrition security is a situation in which food security is combined with a clean environment, issues of hygiene and sanitation and clean water, adequate health services, and appropriate care and feeding practices to ensure a healthy life for all household members. When we talk about dairy, we are talking about milk and milk products. So all dairy products belong to the milk pyramid. The composition of milk is mainly water and 13% of solids, which are the carbohydrates, the proteins, the vitamins, and the minerals. So why milk? It's because it's our almost nearly perfect food, as no other single food can substitute for milk in diet and give a person the same nutrients that you can get from a glass of milk. So the uniqueness of milk is because it's highly digestible, and it's got the amino acid profile of milk is high. So it provides for a steady supply of essential macro and micronutrients. However, the dependency of plant-based foods for most countries, the plant-based foods are low in protein and micronutrients, and this is an important factor in child undernutrition. We can proceed. Okay, so how does dairy contribute to food and nutrition security? It's directly through the supply of these essential macro and micronutrients. We find that in milk, it has got the carbohydrate, the milk, sugar, lactose, the essential fatty acids, the linoleic, and the milk proteins. It also has micronutrients such as vitamin A, calcium, and these are essential for proper growth and development of children. Indirectly, dairy contributes to the income generated through the sale of milk and other dairy products, both at household and national level. That way, indirectly, people or households benefit from improved income and ability for them to purchase more diverse foods. So this contributes to their food and nutrition security. However, the per capita consumption of milk is still low in many developing countries in both children and adults. And this low per capita consumption of dairy products is determined by a number of factors, such as economic factors in terms of income levels and the relative prices of the dairy products, and the demographic factors such as urbanization, social and cultural factors. So in conclusion, we can say that animal products such as dairy are critical to the nutrition, food security, and livelihood and resilience of many people in the world. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Cleopatra, for your presentation. And also thank you for showing how we are analyzing in the postgraduate study course, and like Frederick was doing his analysis more from the agronomic side. Your analysis was done more from the market perspective, like the nutrition analysis, what is needed and how is the market developing. And thank you for this different view, and also for the report on the animal-based product, the milk. And for me, it's would be interesting asking you and the other two of the group, how do you interact in the value chain with your study project? Maybe you can answer first, Cleopatra.
Okay, so this is more on the consumer side. After the production process has been done, after the consumption, what is the value of what we are producing to human nutrition is not enough. We need that food to be able to be utilized by the body for us to have that nutrition security. Otherwise, many people have all those nutrition-related chronic diseases that are currently a global burden in the world. So my colleagues are not here.
Okay, they are not
Yeah.
here. So, and what I was aiming with my question, I wanted to know about your some short sentences about your study project, because of the idea of the what you have in mind to establish with the small scale farmers in Zambia.
Okay, the study project is more on the production of milk, especially in the dry season when there's no grass for the animals, and the small scale farmers cannot afford to buy the feed for the animals. So it's more on the production side of the value chain. Okay, so I'm trying to come up with or incorporate some of the innovations that have already been established in some countries like Kenya and India on how we can improve the productivity.
Okay, and what is the main target? What do you want to implement?
It's the establishment of water pans for water harvesting.
And what are you aiming to? What average amount of milk is a cow at the moment delivering in your study area? And what do you want to achieve with the project in the daily milk amount of the cow?
Okay, currently the production is as low as 2 liters per cow, and it can be improved to at least maybe above 6 liters in a day per cow. That would be good enough for the farmers in terms of income generation.
Okay, thank you, Cleopatra.
Thank you.
Now there is one question asked by Said Latif via WOFA, and he asks, what do you mean by scaling up and out? I don't know at which point it was.
I think it might be referring to Frederick. I'm not sure if it's directed to me.
Yeah, I think also, I'm also wondering where I found it in your, maybe Said Latif can also write a sentence more about his question, and we will answer it then later. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Cleopatra, for the presentation and for your participation. And we will start now with the third group. And here at this third group, it's a group of young entrepreneurs from Africa, and they will talk about the challenges and opportunities to start a business in the food sector, in the agricultural sector. And our presenter is Yava Mini Elodie, and she is sitting in Lome right now, and I give the floor to you, Mini.
Thank you, sir. I'm Mini from Togo, and with my group colleague, who by chance all turned out to be women entrepreneur or willing to be one, we wanted to highlight the contribution of African women entrepreneurs in the development of the agriculture and food industry. So for the outline, next slide, please. For the outline, I'm going to give some key points about the agribusiness in Africa and the situation of women in this sector, then highlight some challenges identified in the country of the group member, then the solution approach we proposed. Next slide, please. Agriculture and agribusiness have driven economic growth in countries across the world, and it is the same situation in Africa, where it plays a vital role in economic development. Last year, some data from World Bank showed that agribusiness input, supply, processing, marketing, and retailing add about 20% of gross domestic product and 70% of employment in Africa. And concerning the part of employment, women constitute nearly half of the workforce in this sector in Africa, but perform more in the production and local marketing of food. And when it comes to developing research program or making decisions or leading agricultural development and food industry development work, women are few due to some difficulty to access training funds and the low percentage of women in science and technology across the continent. So we are convinced in our group that an educated woman willing to conduct a project more with an understanding of the policies, the market demand, and etc. So we think we need more change about this situation and need to allow women to fully use their talent. Next slide, please. So as young scientists, we saw some problem in our different countries related to the agricultural sector. As it showed on this slide, we have a challenge about the cashew processing in Côte d'Ivoire in West Africa, the chemical used in olive oil farm in Tunisia, a what to do about the large production of cereal in Mali and the large production of potato in Tunisia, and the problem about the post-harvest losses of some perishable traditional leafy vegetable in Togo. So about these problems, we have actually 3 solutions on proposal step. It's almost finished, and this solution is about a transformation of cashew into a spreading cream to minimize the losses, the use of a parasitoid as biological control in olive farm to avoid pesticide in Tunisia, and a production of potato chips to minimize the loss in Tunisia. We have some project, next slide. we have also some proposed solution which started with a market test but still need to be improved. Is about the production of pre-cooked nutritive traditional leafy vegetable in Togo to promote their use and minimize post-harvest losses, and also on instantly used cereal in Mali to add value to them. I will finish my presentation by sharing with you this picture I found with a nice message. When you invest in women, the whole family feel the impact, even the core. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minnie, for the presentation. Yeah, and thank you for the group members behind for sharing the ideas with Minnie in the setting up of the presentation. And are there any questions for right now coming out in for the presentation of Minnie? Thank you, Minnie. And I'm wondering, you are talking about the difficulties in assessing funding and training for women in your countries, in the 5 respective countries. And now we are developing, or you are developing such business ideas. And now you already said that 3 of the study projects are more or less finished and the ideas are prepared. And how is now the situation for you and the 4 other group members for this next step for funding and giving these ideas a chance for the market entrance?
As I said it, the first 3 projects are almost finished. And about the funding, we want you, like you promised, to give us the opportunity to present this kind of project. You say in Germany or in other way, like we are doing it right now, to fund funds. And about the 2 last projects from Mali and Togo, we start with our own funds, but with a small test for marketing side. And we are waiting for, or not waiting, but it will be good if you find some financial help to make it bigger.
Okay, and thank you for the answer. And it's related to Hala 2. Is she with us today? No. And
no.
She is already working in an established company, yeah, with her project idea, and wants to broaden up the production or widen up the production.
Yes.
And for the others, it's really a startup idea, yeah.
For the project from Tunisia about the biological control, the potato chips and the cashew cream is a startup idea. But for Alatu is already started, I think, since 2 years. And for my project about vegetable, it starts like some month ago.
Okay. So yeah, I will finish the session today with the outlook for funding possibilities. Thank you very much, Minnie, for the moment, for your presentation. And now we have a question, and I have to look. The question is focusing to Emanuela. Is she with us? Emanuela, yeah, I see it.
I'm here.
Hello, Emanuela. It's a question via Quova, and the question is, there is a huge post-harvest loss in cashew production concerning the apple fruit itself. Which processes are contributing to manage this issue? Emanuela, maybe you can participate or contribute to answer this question.
Can you repeat the question, because there is a noise where I am, so
a huge loss, a post-harvest loss in the cashew production, yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Concerning the apple fruit itself.
Yes.
And which processes are contributing to manage this issue?
I don't know if I understand well the question, but what I can say is that cashew nuts are processed into kernels, cashew kernels, and for me it will be better to add some additional value because kernels are not the final product. When they produce kernel, they export it. And after, external people make some processing for adding value again. So I think that we can add in Cote d'Ivoire additional value to these kernels. And my idea is to product a spreading cream with cashew, like for example Nutella that we know with cocoa. I don't know if I answer the question you asked.
I think it's nice. It gives us more production insights, but I think the question is going more in the direction of the post-harvest loss of the cashew, for the fruit when you before the processing, that there's the high amount of post-harvest loss, and the questionnaire wants to get some ideas of the problem, how the problem can be solved.
Yes, the problem of post-harvest losses. One way to solve the problem of post-harvest losses is processing, I think. And yes, I hope that
Yeah, we will give the possibility to connect to you afterwards. I think we have to go on within the presentations, or one question goes to your group and then we go on, and it's considering small farmers is the question to the group. Which role plays women in creating capacity building to transform agriculture in their countries?
Okay.
hello.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear me. Hello.
Yeah.
You can hear me. So I think that in the farming sector, yes, I don't know. Mini, please, can you help me? I don't find
What I want to say is that for help small farmer, for instance, what I did with the small scale processing unit is like we are not just linked with them to buy their product, but they will have some capacity like training about organic products or how to build the storage room, preservation room for vegetable as we learn it in the courses. And yeah, I will add this some small training for them to improve their life.
Okay.
The production. Yeah.
Thank you, Mini. I think this answers it. So training is one important part, and the next group is also focusing on this issue, and maybe the presentation gives also another input to answer the question raised in WOFA. Okay. So thank you, Mini, and your group for the presentation, and we go on with the next presentation. It's called Promoting Women and Youth in Agriculture for Sustainable Livelihoods. So it's more or less exactly what was question asked, and I give the floor to Gift. Gift, Are you here?
Hi, Bernard, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Everything is good. You can start.
Okay. Sorry, Bernard, is Joanna sharing the screen?
Yeah, we have it. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gift from Zambia, and our point of discussion this afternoon is promoting women and youth in agriculture for sustainable livelihood. And this topic was formulated by Josh from Nigeria, Ramra from Ghana, Rashid from Malawi, and Salim from Tunisia. And the outline of the presentation is as follows. Introduction, there's an overview of the problem tree, project ideas, SWOT analysis, and steps to realize these ideas. I'll move on to the introduction. The current situation of women and youth in Africa. Over 60% of the 1.2 billion people in Africa are youth below the age of 25 years. And this presents a greater opportunity for the youth to contribute to the continent's development agenda. At the same time, Africa is endowed with vast natural resources and coupled with good weather condition and vast amount of good agricultural land, which is in line with development and other related industries. And this untapped potential presents a good opportunity for the African youth and women to take a center stage in developing agribusiness ideas that will combine the existing factors of reproduction into end products. And it is against this background that 5 youth from 5 African countries came up with a theme whose is to promote women and youth in agriculture for improved livelihood. And all these 5 projects will aim at contributing to the theme of promoting women and youth in agriculture. Problem analysis. The problem analysis is centered on the limited involvement of women and youth in agriculture. And some of the causes of this limitation is, one of them is stringent conditions to accessing loan and credit by the youth, which leads to the limited access of credit. Other problems includes low women and youth targeted capacity buildings, as well as limited access to improved technology, all these leading to the poor perception of agriculture among the women and youth in Africa. Other problems includes a lack of awareness of the certain factors of production, such as land, and the limited involvement of youth in a policy dialogues, which results to the unfavorable government policy, because most of the time it does not take account the aspiration of the youth and women. The other problems is predominantly the youth are not involved in the cooperatives, and because of that lack of support makes them not to access the support that comes to being in those cooperatives. As a result of these limitations, the causes, the end effects are low income generation among the youth, as well as food security issues, high rate of unemployment, as well as increased crime rate and overall poverty. Moving to the proposed ideas. As a result of these limitations, the 5 youth from African countries came up with their individual project ideas. And I'll begin with a project idea from Ghana by Ramra, which is changing the perception of youth about agriculture through educational strategies and vegetable production. The second idea is from Malawi by Rashid, which is improving the role of women in groundnut value chains. The second idea is from Nigeria by Josh, which is improving agricultural extension service by formation of private extension groups for sustainability of innovations. The other project idea is by Salem from Tunisia, Initial Amel, which is Women Cooperative for Goat Farming. And the last idea is by myself from Zambia, which is potential of agricultural smart up value chains to improve youth unemployment in Zambia. I'll move into the SWOT analysis. With regards to the SWOT analysis, I'll talk about the internal factors as well as external factors. With the internal factors, the members of our group are highly trained agricultural scientists with the ability to manage agricultural projects, also have the good understanding of an African context in relation to the youth and women problems. Also, the members of the Group 6 are youth themselves who fully understands the livelihood dynamics of women and youth in Africa and are well connected to different organizations working on similar projects in Africa. In line with this strength, the only weakness we could find was lack of funding as a weakness. Opportunities. Recently, there has been a lot of aid funds coming into Africa to support women and youth. So we see that as an opportunity. There is also a lot of interest of African governments to promote youth employment and women empowerment. There is also great potential of youth to develop knowledge and skills. Also, willingness and vibrance of youth to take up challenges is one of the opportunities. Understanding of youth and women issues by the project initiators themselves. Threats. Conflicts and politics is what we saw as one of the threats to this project because there is still too much conflict and politics in some parts of Africa, and we hope the situation improves. Policy frameworks to support women and youth livelihood is also poor, and also poor infrastructure, roads, and climate change. I'll move on to my last slide. Yeah, so in order to take up these ideas off the ground, these are the steps that are necessary and needs to happen. They need to be a feasibility study of these project ideas to understand and to determine their viability. After that, we are hoping for funding of these projects to happen and to take place. And then the third one is the implementation of these pilot sites. And after the success of those pilot sites, we expect to upscale to the national scale. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And I have a question, not directly to you, but to Salem from your group. And I would like to hand over the question raised in WOFA to Salem. And it's the question I raised before. Salem, hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you, sir.
Okay. Salem, considering small farmers, your study project is on.
I hear you.
Oh, I think the connection is not so nice. Salem, maybe we try to answer this question afterwards via email and bring you in contact with the questionnaire in WOFA later, due to the connection. Okay, sorry. And I thank you and I thank you and the group for the presentation and gift. Thank you. And now we go on with the next presentation. It's from Amenion, and he is now presenting his study project by himself. So it's focused only on one study project after now having the different study projects combined in a group. Now Amenion is focusing on his project, and yeah, welcome Amenion, and the floor is yours.
So, okay, thank you, dear participants. I'm Amenion Akapo. I'm from Togo. Have developed in Togo. And the presentation will cover 4 large parts, distribute as follows. So the country in question, Togo, is located in West Africa and cover an area of 56,000 square kilometers. And its population is estimated at 7 million inhabitants in 2019. The poverty rate in the country is 55%, and extreme poverty is 28% in 2015. This poverty rate has been recorded over the past 10 years and remained constant despite the implementation of poverty reduction policy in the country. And we see that the Gini index is 0.39 in 2015, and this characterizes a societies where inequality persists. In agricultural sectors, there are 53% women against 46% of men. So that means women are the main actors in agricultural value chain and are very present in the production process. So despite the representativeness of women in the agricultural sectors, they earn only 10% of the cash income from their activity. And this situation is explained by the persistence of inequality in access to factors of production, such as land, input, equipment, supervision, and the lack of control over resource. So in order to improve the socio-economic condition of vulnerable people, our NGO initiated the agroecological project for the benefit of young girls, young men, and women, based on an innovative agricultural model called the mixed entire agroecological model. So this model brings an economic and ecological and social solution for the beneficiary and their community, and it also brings economic stability to beneficiaries and guarantee healthy food consumption. So for the description of the model, the mixed entire agroecological model developed by our NGO is a model of innovative agricultural practice that responds to the problem of inaccessibility of agricultural land to vulnerable groups. And it constitutes an integrated set of fish farming, breeding, and organic market gardening. And this, the system endorses a stable and sustainable ecosystem dynamic and allow good sustainable productivity of its ecosystem. So the device of the model essentially integrates 4 components. First, we have a subplot comprising fish ponds topped with a cage for breeding poultry or special breeding, so like a guinea pig and other. Secondly, a subplot reserved for market gardening. Third, we have a borewall equipped with a photovoltaic powered water pumping device. And at the end, we have a wastewater evacuation drain from the fish farm and some that are used to supply the market garden subplot. So here we have here you can see the spatial layout of the model. So this model doesn't need a lot of space. The problem of access to land is resolved, And the great feature of this system is that the energy used for pumping water is clean energy, especially solar energy. So depending on the topography of the site, the piscicultural basin is positioned upstream of the greatest slope to facilitate the drainage of the water toward the market gardening perimeter, which should be located downstream, but oriented so as to take advantage of the maximum sunshine time. And the positioning of drilling is the responsibility of specialists in hydrology. And the solar energy device is installed directly next to the borewall, but in parallel with the water tank device in the direction of evolution of the sun. And this arrangement prevents the solar panel from being covered by the shadow or water tank. Please, can you see the screen? The model in reality can be implemented individually, but taking into account the relatively expensive implementation costs, it can be done as a group of producers. So first you have institutional establishment of a producer group around the model, which also facilitates the search of funding because of the group effect, and which limits abandonment and discouragement. And then we have the construction of the different elements. We have after the development and maintenance of crop, and at the ending we have the marketing or the commercialization. So in conclusion, we see that the technical economic reference framework for the model will enable partners to get know the model well and to make good financial decisions and to be able to assess the impact on beneficiary and on the environment. It emerged from this document that the investment costs are relatively higher enough and are not within the reach of the target. The activity is very profitable from an economic, environmental, and social point of view. However, the beneficiary of the pilot seed showed their financial inability to maintain the infrastructure in the first year of implementation. So partner will have to assist them financially. And we see that the net operating results are very encouraging. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Amenion. Yeah, I see it's no question on Quora right now. And my question to you, Amenion, is your final conclusion or your final statement was the net operating results are encouraging, but the operating results are encouraging, but what about the financing? What about the funding? You are working in an NGO, and you are generating funds for the implementation of such models in the region, in your region, in Togo. Is this right?
Yes, yes. We see that after make all the calculation, we have saw that the beneficiary realize a benefit when they implement the activities. But I didn't present the calculation here.
Yeah, but yeah, we have seen the calculation. But how is it? How are you working now with the people in the rural areas? How do you convince them from your model, and how is it implemented in your region at the moment?
Please, I didn't hear you properly.
Is this model already via your NGO implemented in the region?
Yes, we implemented the model in some region, essentially in some locality, Vaughan and Chevier in Togo.
And the funds, these are external funds, or do the farmers see your calculation and invest by themselves, or do you need external funding?
No, it is built by their proper fund.
By the community, yeah?
Yes, by the community.
Okay, so thank you very much,
Yes, thank you.
Amenion. And for the presentation, now we go over to the last presentation in our session today, and it's Hitchens now with the Baobab value chain. Hitchens.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, may you assist me in terms of sharing the screen?
Yeah, we can hear you. We will do.
Yeah, well, I'm Haji Spiri from Malawi, and I want to make a presentation on upscaling of baobab value chain through production and processing using modern technology. So can go to the next slide. Yeah, so in this presentation, I'm going to take you from the introduction up to the expected outcomes and cost of the projected study project idea. Yeah, let me go next. Yeah, so by introduction, yeah, so Malawi is one of the developing countries that is actually found in the sub-Saharan Africa. And you see that most of the population, just similar to most of the African countries, do rely upon agriculture. So within the value chains that most of the people are engaged in, one of them is baobab fruit tree, which farmers do produce and process, but normally along the lakeshore areas. So as you can see that baobab has many products and it is used as a source of food, medicine, and income. So despite this having numerous advantages, but we see that baobab production and processing in Malawi is very low. And this is attributed to the fact that there are low levels of technologies. In addition to low levels of processing and production technology, we also have most of the farmers have inadequate capital as well as poor market information in addition to lack of government support. So due to this, you see that there will be failure in meeting the domestic and export demand for baobab products. So this therefore calls for intervention to upscale baobab production and processing. So in this context, as regards to my project idea, such intervention will be expansion in the use of modern technologies through establishment of baobab value chain social enterprise. And this will be known as Bao Foods Initiative. So we can go to the next slide. So the study project objectives. So as I said, the main objective of this study project idea is to increase baobab production and processing using modern technologies. This one will be with the special emphasis on the youth and women, especially along the lakeshore areas. So specifically to achieve this specific objective, this main objective, the study idea is to increase production through commercialization. So within the social enterprise, my project idea is suggesting to have a commercial farm where we will be producing baobab within the backyard garden. So we also aim at upscaling processing of baobab through value addition, and we also increase the use of modern production and processing technology. And this one will be through the fourth objective, which is to develop baobab value chain social enterprise called the Biofoods Initiative. Yeah, next slide. So this one with the study project problem analysis. So the core problem is low production and processing of baobab, and this is caused by inadequate levels of production and processing technology, lack of market information, which do not motivate farmers to, most of the farmers to engage in this kind of initiative. Then we have got poor infrastructure, lack of government support, inadequate capital, as well as poor value chain links leads to low production and processing of baobab. And this will result in poor health, food insecurity, low levels of income, which in turn will result to low contribution to the gross domestic product. Next slide. Go to the next slide.
We do it, wait a second, it's not working. We will start again.
Okay.
We have problems. I do it. So, okay. Can you share screen? Hey. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can go on.
Okay, fine.
Sorry.
So, yeah, so the following are some of the possible risks that will hinder the implementation of that might hinder the implementation of the study project idea. We might have political instability, we have poor economic conditions, for example, interest rates and inflation, inadequate infrastructure, lack of sustainable government support. We can have an unavailability of adequate funding. Collaboration amongst implementing partners may also not be okay. So we can also have increase in some other diseases, like, for example, the COVID-19, as it was the case this year. So this might hinder the implementation of the study project idea. We'll go next. So implementations to realize the idea. So the validation of the project idea is the first one. Then planning process. Then partnerships that will help in the implementation of the study project. So the other implementation step will be location of the baobab value chain social enterprise, biofood. So as I suggested, this one will be along the lake shore. So we have the expected outcomes and cost. Yeah, so the step number 5 will be idea realization, idea launch. After location of the value chain social enterprise, where it will be located. So we can go to the last slide. So expected outcomes or impacts of the project. So we'll see that the income levels of people, especially along lakeshore areas, will be improved. Reduction in levels of unemployment, and again, reduction in moral decadence, especially along lakeshore areas in Malawi. There is this incidence of moral decadence. So if these youths will be involved in baobab production and processing through the social enterprise, I'm sure that this one will be reduced. So to the end, the study project is expected to incur an expected cost of 30 euros for it to be realized. And this will cater for inputs like materials, infrastructure, and what have you just mentioned a few. Last slide. Yeah, otherwise, thank you for your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Agent, for your presentation. And we did not receive any question via Grover for your presentation. but I have one, and you mentioned as one point the pure value chain links. And can you please determine this what you understand under this pure value chain links in your study project?
You were saying within the value chain of baobab, you say that the collaboration between the actors, for example, the harvesters, producers, the processors, and the like, some of the linkages or collaborations that are not all that straightforward. So this one will hinder upscaling of baobab. For example, you see that the harvesters who harvest baobab or produce baobab, instead of maybe being bought at good price, they will not be bought at good price due to poor linkages of market information between the actors within the value chain. So that's what I was trying to look at when I was trying to talk about value chain links. They're not that okay. So maybe I could just paraphrase it in a way that poor relationship between the value chain actors within the value chain. So that one will hinder the implementation, as I said.
Okay. Thank you, agents, for answering my question. And yeah, we have 5 minutes left, and I want to wrap up the session, and I want to make clear the question raised in the QOVA will be answered afterwards, and from our colleagues and from our group of the colleagues presenting today, being behind the presenters in the groups, and if there are more questions related to our topics, please do not hesitate and contact me via QOVA or my email address. And thank you for the attendance first. And yeah, what we try to give you today in this session is an overview over the postgraduate course food chains in agriculture, and we want to show you what we are doing and how we want to establish with young professionals market chain links for the establishment of new products or the strengthening of the production and processing of already established products via the training, the course in Tristorf or online this year. And I hope you got an insight what is going on in this course. And before the section ends, I want to make an outview, and because many give an outlook what is going on with the graduates and with the project ideas, and therefore we try to establish a second project where we want to follow up and go with as the institution University of Applied Science Weinstefan Tristorf, go the next steps with some of the presenters and graduates to implement the project ideas in the real world, to give the possibility to get a better chance to receive funding for the idea and make the next steps in implementing the ideas on the market. And this project is in the pipeline, and we are working on it right now. And we think, I think you have all seen it today or heard it today, that the ideas are there to get a viable economic system in some rural areas in the respective countries of the participants. But the lack of funding is in most of the cases one of the big problem, and therefore we want to work on with the graduates. And I thank you right now for the being part in our session, and I want to make a small advertisement for tomorrow, because today we had a few on only two projects now in the last two presenters, and tomorrow there will be a poster session at 9 EM also in the Tropentag, and it has the same name, practice oriented further education and support for the transfer of business ideas in the food value chain in Africa, and 9 projects will be presented. And now I'm a bit in the hurry because in 1 minute we will be closed. The session is closed. I thank you for the attendance and wish you all a good afternoon, or maybe in some cases already evening. Goodbye, and thank you to all presenters and all participants.